Hey y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So this week we're going to dig into how to be found by recruiters. All right, so there has been some ongoing discussion for a while now about keywords and how you should leverage them as a job seeker, where they go on your resume, where to hide them in the margins. Don't do that. That does not work. It's rather silly. Please don't. But you know, there's a lot of discussion about this, and I think that unfortunately, perhaps it's a lack of clarity on our part. Perhaps it's some of the unsavory types out there who are, you know, using this as a fear-mongering kind of thing. I don't know, but I do know that there's a lot of confusion about this idea of keywords and showing up in a search and the difference between sourcing and applying directly. And we're going to try to unpack that in our 10 minutes or so together. So first of all, understand the difference between a direct applicant and someone who's been sourced. Both end up in the same funnel. Both end up in the ATS, whether that's through you've applied directly or you were invited to apply because a recruiter came and found you, or maybe even the recruiter uploaded your info into the ATS. That can also happen depending on the organization and the rules and compliance things like that. But for the most part, everybody goes into that same funnel. Very rare will you not have that action at some point, but you know, don't speak for everybody. Go ask your favorite recruiter how they do it. And that's your source of truth. All right. So with that said, it stands to reason that keywords would be equally important for everybody, right? Yeah, kinda. And the reason keywords are important is because they give us those early indicators that there might be a fit. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for early indicators that there might be a fit. So if I am looking, I use this example all the time. I have not recruited this for years, but it always sticks in my head. It's one of my favorite roles I ever worked on with one of my favorite managers ever, structural engineer. If I'm looking for a structural engineer that has experience with flight hardware, those are going to be some key words or some specific terms that I'm going to look for. And I'm going to look for those on your resume if you've applied. And I'm going to look for them through one of my third-party tools like LinkedIn Recruiter, HireEZ, Seekout, good old custom search engine on Google, you name it. I even look stuff up on Bing. I have no loyalty to any one tool. Okay, that's probably not true. I do love me some HireEZ, but anyway, I am going to plug in those key terms from the job description, and that's what I'm going to go and search for. Okay, I will tell you, in 26 years of doing this, well, I guess since the internet, maybe 20 years, 24 years, whatever, that I've had the internet as a recruiter, never once doing a keyword search, doing a Boolean search, doing a proactive go out and find people search, have I ever looked for a soft skill on a resume. Not one time. You will never catch me writing a Boolean string that includes the words strong communicator. You will never catch me using passion as a keyword in my initial searches. Those soft skill components are going to come up through the interview process. We are long past the resume. I've already seen the resume. I've already made a decision based on the resume. I am moving on. The resume is no longer important. I'm now in the interview process. Now we're digging into, maybe it's googliness. Maybe it's leadership principles. Maybe it's something else, depending on who you're recruiting for or where you're interviewing at. But the point being, those keywords that are going to allow you to be found by recruiters are hard skills, titles, and technologies, or tools. Tools is probably a better word. Okay. Even in blue collar world. Okay. I'm doing a lot of hourly hiring right now and leading some work around, hiring hands-on entry-level assembly techs, things like that. And y'all, I tell you, we are looking for mechanical. We are looking for hand tools. We are looking for assembly. We are looking for, things like that. I'm not looking for fun to work with. I'm not looking for whatever, I can't even, it's whatever, you know what I mean? Just soft skill stuff. I don't care. So I'm also looking for certain titles. I might be looking for a technician. I might be looking for an assembler. I might be looking for, same thing with going back to my structural engineer that I talk about all the time. Maybe I'm looking for structural engineer, mechanical engineer, hardware engineer, right? Things like that. And so my best advice as you're thinking about your personal profile, what do I want people to leave my profile with? If I see your profile, what do you want me to know about you? You should, I would assume, want me to know that you have held similar titles in the past. Doesn't have to be an exact match. We'll dig into that a bit. Doesn't have to be an exact match. But I need to know that you have some experience doing this thing. I'm going to be looking for the tools and technologies that you've used, whether that's a torque wrench or Craig Bampton method or anything in between. I'm going to be looking for those key accomplishments. What did you actually do? What'd you assemble? What'd you model, right? Keywords, okay? See where I'm going with this? So if you want to be found by recruiters, it stands to reason that the things that are they're going to be looking for, which is again, our titles, tools, and accomplishments or experience should be in your profile. A lot of people will use their social media and try to get real clever with titles or real clever with, headlines, things like that. I don't care. I that's fine. I don't search headlines necessarily, so I'm not super worried about that. But I am definitely looking at your about section. I normally go straight to the work history and work experience when I'm searching on, LinkedIn profiles or what have you. If I don't have a resume and all I have is a profile, I'm honing in on the actual work experience. So that's where it's going to be important for me. Now, that said, other search criteria that other recruiters might use could be skills. So what do you have in your skills section of LinkedIn or even your resume if I'm searching for you in the ATS, right? If I'm doing a database search. So that is okay to have maybe like a skills section, even a standalone section on your resume if you're so inclined, but make sure that they are role related and make sure that they are specific to the kind of work that you want to do. So if you're telling me all about all of this great software stuff that you've done and all the languages that you know how to code in and all the things that are maybe not at all relevant to the PM job that you're trying to get, what do you want to be found for? I'll find you all day long for a software role. I may not find you for a PM role if you don't have those technologies, tools, and accomplishments on there. Okay, now, obviously, software to PM is probably not the best analogy I could have used here because there might be more overlap than I just tried to convince you of, but hopefully you get my point. The idea here is think about the roles that you want to be found for. Pay attention to the terminology that recruiters are using. Pay attention to the words that are in those job descriptions. In fact, go one more step. Look at your competition. I say this in almost all of my coaching sessions with job seekers, and every time job seekers are kind of like, I'm not entirely convinced any of them have done it. If you have done it, let me know what you thought, okay? So here we go. This is what I would recommend you do. This is what I would do. I'm gonna go find everybody on LinkedIn or on social media that has the job that I want. Oh, that person is a lead recruiter for Microsoft. Let me go look at a few of those profiles. Oh, that person's a senior recruiter at, where else do I want to work someday? I don't know. REI. Love REI. Okay, let's see what those words are, right? And I'm going to start looking at those profiles of people who have successfully entered industries or organizations that I want to be in. And I'm going to start, taking some inspiration from that, right? You need to make sure you are putting out the right bait, friends. And that is hard skills. That is, to some degree, titles, technologies, and tools. All right. Now, yes, smart recruiters will understand that people who spell manager without the second A, Manger, are probably not getting as many hits. And so I will purposely search misspelled words so that I can find people that perhaps some of my peers have not found. So I'm not saying do that on purpose, but do understand that we are going to look at alternative titles or perhaps common misspellings or, things like that. Like we want to cast a wide net and we want to make sure that we're pulling in as many people as possible. We know it takes a lot at the top of the funnel to actually get to an offer. We have the math. So that's what I would do. I'm going to hone in on those job descriptions at the companies I want to work for. I'm going to try to mirror their language. I'm going to follow the recruiters in my industry. I'm going to pick up what they're laying down. I'm going to pay attention when they talk about, what they're looking for, what they're sourcing for, what they're asking for. And I'm going to scope out my competition. I'm going to see what other people are calling themselves on the market. I'm going to see what kind of tools and technologies they're working with and they're talking about. And I'm going to make sure that I can back up what I put on my profile with actual knowledge and experience. Just saying, that's also important. But I really do think if you try some of these tweaks, shut up, Siri. If you try some of these tweaks, you just might see a little uptick in the number of recruiters reaching out to you. All right, friends, let me know down below what you think. Do you have any ideas of your own? What have you tried that's worked? Let me know. As always, see you next week.